Alejandro, hola, ¿qué pasa?
Hello, team. How are you? Very nice to see you here and to be invited by you to this podcast episode.
You're more than welcome. It's Encantado and what have you. Whereabouts are you from, Alejandro?
I'm Colombian, and we do say encantado as well when we say nice to meet you or you're welcome. So that's a very polite way to, let's say, acknowledge the other person.
Okay, so you're from Colombia,
Colombia.
or you're in Colombia?
Okay, so I'm from Colombia, but I'm based in Sydney.
Okay, fantastic. And do you get much opportunity to hablar español in Sydney?
Yes, I do, because maybe you've noticed that there are plenty of Latinos living in Australia, especially in Sydney, and also because it's a very important country for Latinos to come in terms of studies or migration or even living. So we Latinos have decided to come to this wonderful country to live, and of course, do many things, like setting up a business or study or to work. So many things, and that's why, because of that, I have the chance to speak in Spanish with many Latinos.
That's good. And whereabouts in Colombia is you to casa?
Okay, so mi casa, my home is in Bogota.
Bogota. Okay.
It's the capital of Colombia.
And so I hear Colombia is a beautiful country too.
Well, it is a beautiful country. It's a bit different to Australia when it comes to, let's say, landscapes or nature. But in some areas, I think it's pretty similar. I would say pretty much in the north, because it's very tropical, right? So yes, it's a very beautiful country. It's worth visiting. At the same time, what I would say the best asset of our country is the people, because we tend to make people feel really welcome, a very part of our culture as well. We like interaction, we like social connection, we like family, we like community. And these are all part of the values that identify Colombians when it comes to, let's say, comparing us with other countries.
Okay, that's fair enough. And how long ago did you leave there?
Okay, so I was raised in Colombia, right? And I decided to come to Australia when I was 37. So I pretty much lived my whole life in Colombia.
Okay, all right. So it begs the question, and my whole point is to ask these questions. Why did you leave?
Well, I left the country, even though, as you said, it's a beautiful country. When it comes to finding direction in our life, we always need to make decisions based on what is best for us, right? For many people, many Colombians living in Colombia is great. As you said, it's a wonderful country. But when it comes to finding better options for other people, we need to leave. In my case, I really wanted to leave the country because I wanted to study my Master of Business Administration in a different country. I wanted to study in a country where English is spoken. And also, I wanted to pick a country where coaching-related services are very well received by the population. When it comes to comparing that industry versus the Colombian industry in coaching services, consulting services, psychology services, right? Even though it's a growing industry, people in Australia are more open to accept those services, to pay for those services, and to make a living out of the services. So because of that, I said, okay, Australia is a very good country for me to live in. So when I finished my Master of Business Administration studies, I decided to set up my business and also to live in Australia.
Okay, all right. So answer that question. So I appreciate that. And how long have you called Australia home?
It's been nearly 7 years.
Okay, all right. It's as young as this. This was set up 7 years ago. So we must have been like passing ships in the night. So
Ooh, I like that.
Okay, so how long have you had? So Ortiz Consulting, that's the business?
Yes, Alejandro Ortiz Consulting, which is my name, consulting.
Okay, fantastic. Tell us a bit about what you do.
Good. So, Tim, very good question. When it comes to coaching services, there are plenty of services offered in Australia and in the world, right? However, what I wanted to do is to specialize in certain services. I found out that when I was talking to migrants who are living in the country, most of them, they were looking for, of course, different services, but they were especially looking for direction, which means direction in life, direction in professional opportunities, direction in businesses, right? So even though people come to me asking for different services when it comes to coaching, I wanted to specialize myself in direction services. So Alejandro Ortiz Consulting specializes in providing direction coaching services to professionals and entrepreneurs through conscious mindset programs. So that's what I do through my business.
Okay, fantastic. I like your angle with that. Obviously, the pun intended, clearly. So what would you say is the main way that you guide and you provide this direction?
Good. That's a beautiful question, Tim. And my answer to that is, in order to find direction, it's always or more important, or the most important part is to find the seed or the main talent. And I called that talent or seed the genius. Okay. So think about this, Tim. When you plant a seed in the soil, a tree will grow. But before planting that seed, you need to be able to identify what is that seed about. Could be a mango seed or an apple seed or a pineapple seed, right? So before deciding to plant something, you need to be you need to be certain about what to plant. Okay. Once you know what to plant, you will know what is going to be the outcome. Okay. However, what I found out is that not many people were clear about that seed, which is that talent. And all of us were, let's say, raised, or we were born with different talents, and that makes us unique. When we are able to understand and identify those talents, we can then plant the seed, and the tree will grow. So finding direction means growing that tree. It starts by identifying the seed so that we can plant those talents according to what we were made of.
Okay. And by the sounds of this sort of ticks both the professional and personal lives of the individual.
Exactly. So when we identify those talents or the seed, we can grow at a personal, professional, or business level. And why is that important? Because when we are doing something that is aligned to our talents, the direction is a given. So it's easier to find direction at a personal, professional level because it comes from within. It's nothing that was imposed by another person. It was all coming from within. And that's the right direction to find in life.
Yep. Okay. And so so we've got the three pillars of someone's life there that you're talking to, three seeds potentially. Do you find that you end up talking predominantly to one of them with an individual, or do you find that they combine them all in one?
Yes. So they combine all of them in one. Why? Because we cannot grow at a professional level without growing at a personal level. For example, that's a given. And this is true. Why? Because the way you are at a personal level is going to impact or affect your professional level. For example, if a person is shy at a personal level, it will be most likely shy at a professional level because we can't deny the person we are at the workplace, the same way at a business level. And that's why, team, it is important to identify who we are first so that we can be the same person at a personal, professional, and business level. When we do that, we are being congruent with the way we are. And being congruent, it's a blessing because people will look for us because of who we are. Mm-hmm. So that's why we do combine all of those areas into one, which is the self, the seed, which is who we are.
I wholeheartedly agree with that because I also make sure that my personal business and whatever it all blends into one because the persona has an identity component in each and an influence on each. And a lot of people draw a lot of barriers and lines between, and I fully understand that too. I definitely blur those over for sure. I will share something with you which I think will prove a point to what you're saying as well. So we do a lot of business coaching. Okay. When I go to market to sell the service of business coaching, it's interesting. So if I go to sell personal development to a business owner, for example, okay, they always say, yeah, great idea, but I have no spare time. It's a no. Okay. That's the common thing. If I go sell the business coaching to a business owner, great idea. Yes, I'll do it because I want to work on the business. That's my investment of my time and effort and money. Okay. So they accept the business coaching because working on the business. However, when working on the business, 9 times out of 10, we end up working on the personal. And so I started doing the neuroplasticity was my string to the bow to help that individual to make me stand out whilst I'm doing that. And so what actually happens is what they said no to before ends up being a yes, but the business coach ends up being the vehicle delivering the personal training. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally agree.
And so you experience similar situations within your business.
Yes, because the thing is that the business is being tainted by the person's abilities or genius or talents, right? So every time I go to a business or every time I go to a company, I really want to get to know the owner, because that's the person who is actually, let's say, influencing the whole environment within the company. And in order to, let's say, advise or to make a change or to improve something within the business, it's important, first of all, to be able to reach out to the business owner, because that's the person who is actually making more impact over employees, right? So if something is not going well, if something is needs improvement, it's always good to reach out to the business owner to identify what is happening, right? And sometimes part of the underlying causes of that, let's say, opportunity of improvement lies on the person who is running the business. Okay, so that's why, as you said, and I agree with you, it's all about getting to know the business owner at a personal level so that we can improve or help the person improve something and also improve the business at the same time.
Yes, love it. So we're on the same page. We're having the same experience, and that's a big value add for people when they realise this and how these components of their lives intertwine and, more importantly, influence each other.
Good. That's true. That's great.
Okay, so with your services, do you have a psychology background on top of the MBA, or where's your area of expertise?
Good. Well, I do because of my MBA. I'm able to provide business coaching services to professionals and entrepreneurs. The thing is that back in my country, I was able to get certifications around coaching. So I studied for over 3 years coaching, mentoring, consulting. And because of that, I was able to, let's say, offer services at a personal and professional level as well. I also have certifications in leadership and also industrial engineering. So because of that background, I structure all my programs in, let's say, what to do next. Let's say step 1, step 2, step 3, so that I can guide my client in a very structured or step-by-step process, which is something that is easier for clients to digest. When I provide clear direction, they can, of course, follow all the steps so that they can achieve the goals according to the plan that was, or the program that was sold, right? So my background is giving me the ability to structure every single coaching plan so that my client can easily achieve their goals.
Yeah, love it. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit then. Obviously, companies have their vision and mission and values and what have you. So we're always forward thinking, or should be forward thinking. Okay, with business. What's the future hold for Alejandro Ortiz Consulting?
Good, interesting. So the thing is that when you provide services, you understand that you have certain abilities for certain target audience. And that's something that I wanted to experiment at the beginning of my business, which was back in 2020. Over time, I was able to identify other opportunities. So my next area is to be more influential, in big settings, let's say bigger audiences. And what I see myself doing in the next maybe 2-3 years is becoming a speaker. So being a person who is able to mentor big audiences at the same time, different people coming to a room, to a theater, to a conference room. And that's something I really want to shape over time. I do it at the moment because I'm also a teacher at a university. So I do have classes for students, right, within the business school of a university. So when it comes to being a guest speaker, I I have the skills to deliver sessions to 40 people, sometimes to 100 people, if I'm invited as a guest speaker to those university lectures. It depends, right? But that's something that I do see myself doing in the next couple of years. And that's part of the things I've been exploring over time. So I have been mostly focused on one-on-one sessions, sometimes small group sessions as well. But what I would like to be doing in the future is trying to scope bigger audiences.
And that's it. So for those people that maybe misunderstand keynote speaking, public speaking and what have you, and I understand where you're coming from. I think we're on the same page. It's not a narcissistic behavior. Okay. It's a case of, well, I can assist one-on-one. I can then assist 1 on 10. Okay. If I can speak to 200 people, that's 200 families and to 100 friends of, and it just basically means you're maximizing your output for your input in. Okay. You're doing more good, and that's where I find the speaking circuit really works well for people that are giving. Does that make sense?
Yes, I agree with you. And also, Tim, because in the end, what really changes the output is that, or the outcome is that, when the speaker or the coach or the facilitator has a good intention to help people, that's the genuine intention, the outcome is good for the people who are receiving that support. So when it comes to public speaking, for example, or keynote speaker, my always advice to people is, hey, have a good intention to genuinely help others. If you do that, no matter what is your approach, because we all are different, the outcome will be good because you're having a good intention to genuinely help others.
Yeah, love it, and that's just it. So any way which we can help others, and this is a really good example. You're doing a podcast. We're having a conversation here. We'll share with our networks, of course. Okay, but there's going to be people that you and I don't know that listening to this and be intently writing notes down and implementing it will change their lives. And we'll never hear from them.
That happens. The thing is, you know why, Tim? We do what we can do, what is under our control, right? If some people listen to the podcast, they might like it, they might get in touch with us later on. Some people might reach out to us later on, but what is under our control is sending the message, right? Giving support to others. And then the clients will come back. People who really want to be with us will come, and that's fine. That's the way I do work with my clients. It's not about pushing, it's more about persuading people to come to us because we really want to help them.
Yeah, love it. And in that breath then, as we wrap up, for those people that do want to make contact with you, what would be the best route for them to contact you?
Good. So I do handle or manage 3 different links or social media platforms, right? I would like to encourage people to reach out to me via my website. So www.alejandroconsulting.com, or via LinkedIn, Alejandro Ortiz Consulting, or finally via Instagram, Alejandro Ortiz Consulting. So I basically use the same nickname for all my social media channels, but I mostly use LinkedIn and Instagram. When it comes to my website, alejandroconsulting.com. So I will encourage people to reach out to me using those 3 links.
Okay, well, with those 3 links, please put them in the comment section so that people listening to it can find it and that as well. And I'm sure there'll be a big queue of people wanting to speak with you.
Great. That sounds awesome.
Okay, listen, thanks again for your time, and buenos dias.
Buenas tardes, because it's afternoon.
I knew you were going to correct me on that one. My Spanish was good otherwise.
That's great. I liked it.
Okay, hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you did enjoy it, had lots of takeaways from it. As before, please subscribe below so you can keep on top of any new releases we have. And also, if you would like to have your story told, just reach out with me and I'd love to give you that platform. My best email address is tom@purplepatchconsulting.com. Thank you.